Hey there, comrades. Remember that whole special military operation thing Russia's been up to in Ukraine? Well, let's just say the UK isn't exactly thrilled. Things between these two haven't been peachy for a while, but this whole invasion thing really put a damper on their friendship bracelets. The UK, never one to mince words, has been pretty vocal about its disapproval, and now they're putting their money where their mouth is. Well, not literally, because that would involve sending actual money to Russia, which is the opposite of what they're trying to do. Instead, they've slapped Russia with a fresh set of sanctions, and these babies are tougher than a 2-week-old baguette. Think of it as the UK's way of saying, we're not mad, just disappointed. And also, here's a bunch of economic pain. So buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to dive headfirst into the wonderful world of sanctions.
Picture this. The UK Foreign Secretary, looking very official and important, stands at a podium. Microphones are everywhere, cameras are flashing, and there's a palpable sense of anticipation in the air. The announcement drops. The UK is unleashing a new wave of sanctions against Russia, targeting everything from banks to oligarchs to exports of caviar and luxury cars. It's like a greatest hits compilation of economic punishments, all designed to make Russia hurt. The message is clear. This isn't just a slap on the wrist. The UK is playing hardball, aiming to squeeze Russia's economy and pressure Putin to rethink his little adventure in Ukraine.
Okay, so we know the UK is throwing some serious economic shade at Russia, but what exactly does that mean? Let's dive into the nitty-gritty details of these sanctions and understand their full impact. Let's break it down, shall we? Sanctions are essentially penalties imposed by one country on another to curb certain behaviors or actions. In this case, the UK is targeting Russia's financial and economic sectors to pressure them into changing their policies. First up, we've got sanctions on Russian banks. These are the big dogs, the financial institutions that keep the Russian economy chugging along. By targeting these banks, the UK aims to disrupt the financial backbone of Russia, making it difficult for them to operate smoothly. The UK is essentially cutting them off from the global financial system, making it harder for them to do business and access the money they need. This isolation can lead to a significant economic downturn, affecting not just the banks, but the entire Russian economy. Next, we've got sanctions on individuals. These aren't just any individuals. We're talking about the elite, the oligarchs, and Putin's inner circle. These are the people who hold significant power and wealth in Russia. We're talking oligarchs, Putin's inner circle, the guys with more yachts than scruples. By targeting these individuals, the UK aims to hit where it hurts the most, their luxurious lifestyles and financial assets. These sanctions freeze their assets, making it harder for them to access their ill-gotten gains. This means their properties, bank accounts, and other valuable assets are put on hold, limiting their financial freedom and influence. And let's not forget about export controls. These are crucial in limiting Russia's access to essential goods and technologies. The UK is restricting the export of key technologies and goods to Russia, things that are crucial for their military and other industries. This includes high-tech equipment, military hardware, and scientific advancements that Russia relies on for its development. It's like the UK is taking away Russia's economic toys one by one, and let's just say, Putin doesn't look too happy about it. These sanctions are designed to create pressure and force a change in behavior, but only time will tell how effective they will be in achieving their goals.
Section 4. The world reacts. Not quite a standing ovation. So, the UK has thrown down the gauntlet, but what about the rest of the world? The British government has made its stance clear, imposing a series of sanctions aimed at pressuring Russia. But the question remains, will other nations follow suit, or will they choose a different path? Are they joining in on the sanction party, or are they content to sit this one out? The international community is watching closely, waiting to see who will take a stand and who will remain on the sidelines. Well, it's a bit of a mixed bag, really. Some leaders are quick to condemn Russia's actions, while others are more cautious, weighing their options carefully. The global stage is filled with a variety of responses, each influenced by different political and economic considerations. The EU, always eager to show a united front, except when they're not, has also imposed its own set of sanctions against Russia. European leaders have come together to present a cohesive response, but behind closed doors, there are still debates and disagreements about the best course of action. The US, never one to miss out on a good old-fashioned economic showdown, has followed suit. American officials have been vocal in their condemnation, and the sanctions they've imposed are some of the most stringent. The message is clear. The US stands firmly against Russia's actions. But not everyone is on board. In the complex web of international relations, not all countries are willing to take such a definitive stance. Some are more hesitant, concerned about the potential repercussions. Some countries, particularly those with close ties to Russia, are hesitant to rock the boat. They have long-standing relationships and economic ties that they are reluctant to jeopardize. For them, the decision is far from straightforward. They're worried about the economic fallout, both for themselves and for Russia. The potential for economic instability is a significant concern, and it's influencing their decisions on how to respond. It's a delicate balancing act, really. Leaders must weigh the moral imperative to condemn aggression against the practical considerations of their own national interests. The stakes are high, and the decisions are anything but easy. Condemn the invasion and risk economic blowback, or stay silent and risk looking like you're okay with a country invading its neighbor. Tough call, right? The world watches as each nation navigates this complex and challenging landscape, trying to find the right balance between principle and pragmatism.
Section 5. Ruble trouble. Can Russia's economy weather the storm? Now, for the million-dollar question, are these sanctions actually working? Is Russia's economy crumbling under the weight of all this economic pressure? The short answer, it's complicated. There's no doubt that the sanctions are having an impact. The value of the ruble has plummeted, inflation is soaring, and ordinary Russians are feeling the pinch. But Russia is a tough cookie, and they've been preparing for this kind of thing for years. They've got their own financial systems, their own reserves of foreign currency, and they're busy cozying up to countries that are willing to do business with them, despite the sanctions. So, will the sanctions cripple Russia's economy overnight? Probably not, but they're definitely going to sting, and the longer they're in place, the more painful they'll become.
Section 6. Crystal ball gazing. What the future holds. Predicting the future is a fool's errand, but that doesn't mean we can't engage in a little bit of speculation, right? After all, the future is shaped by the actions and decisions we make today. So let's dive into some educated guesses and explore the potential outcomes of the current geopolitical landscape. So, what might the long-term impact of these sanctions be? Sanctions are a double-edged sword. They can cripple an economy, but they can also galvanize a nation to become more self-reliant. The economic isolation of Russia could lead to a significant downturn in their financial stability, affecting everything from the stock market to everyday consumer goods. Well, one possibility is that the economic pressure forces Russia to reconsider its actions in Ukraine. The sanctions could create a ripple effect, leading to widespread protests and civil unrest within Russia. The public's dissatisfaction might reach a boiling point, compelling the government to change its course. Faced with a tanking economy and growing unrest at home, Putin might just decide that this whole invasion thing wasn't such a great idea after all. The mounting pressure from both the international community and his own citizens could force him to seek a diplomatic resolution, potentially leading to a withdrawal from Ukraine. Another possibility is that the sanctions backfire, pushing Russia further into the arms of China and other countries that are happy to do business with them, regardless of their human rights record. This could lead to the formation of new economic and political alliances, reshaping the global order in unexpected ways. This could lead to a more fragmented global order, with the West on one side and Russia and its allies on the other. The world might see a resurgence of Cold War-era tensions, with nations choosing sides and global cooperation becoming increasingly difficult. Or maybe, just maybe, none of this will matter. The future is notoriously unpredictable, and sometimes events unfold in ways that defy all expectations. The geopolitical landscape is a complex web of interdependencies, and a single event can set off a chain reaction with far-reaching consequences. Maybe Putin will achieve his objectives in Ukraine, the West will eventually ease up on the sanctions, and the world will go back to pretending that everything is fine and dandy. History has shown that the international community often has a short memory, and economic interests can sometimes outweigh moral considerations. It's a choose-your-own-adventure story, and right now, we're all just along for the ride. The choices made by world leaders, the reactions of the global community, and the resilience of the affected populations will all play a role in shaping the future. As we watch these events unfold, one thing is certain: the future is unwritten, and anything is possible. Section 7. In conclusion. The short version, because you're probably bored by now. To sum it all up, the UK has hit Russia with some pretty hefty sanctions, and they're not alone. The EU and the US are also on board, but not everyone is happy about it. The sanctions are definitely having an impact on Russia's economy, but it's too early to say whether they'll be enough to force Putin to change course. Only time will tell what the long-term consequences of all this will be. And that, my friends, is the end of our whirlwind tour of the wonderful world of sanctions. I hope you found it informative, if not exactly uplifting. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go have a stiff drink and try to forget about the impending collapse of the global order. Cheers!